everyone, Jim Clark here at the Synchronicity Sanctuary in Central Virginia. I'm here to share another contemplative focus with you. And the focus that I wanted to share with you today is sometimes I know I'm consciousness and sometimes I am not. The truth is the truth. All is one. Yet we still invest in illusions and pretend it's otherwise. Such is the necessity of involutionary and evolutionary cycle of relative reality, which is where we are. The question is, where exactly are our feet as we are evolving from illusion to truth within the reversal of polarized dominance? In other words, by default, when we're first born into this world, the negative polarity, the contractive polarity that identifies us with our ego is dominant. So that plays out until we reach a stage in our life where we are capable and motivated to go beyond that, to seek out what really is real, when we start to question reality and who we are in that. And so in my own journey, this led me to start to meditate, because that was the only technology that I knew of where I could increase my balance and expand my awareness. And with that, I began to pursue more of my own truth by meditating. That was always been the primary balancing technique throughout the ages, and it has proven itself over and over again to eventually bring you into the full awareness of who you truly are. And that is not something you can put into words. That is an experiential happening in one's evolutionary process that overwhelms you with itself. Okay? It has so much power in it, you think it would never be challenged by yourself. And yet, here and there, sometimes it is challenged because we find ourselves being drawn into an identification, usually one that's makes us a victim, makes us angry, makes us doubt ourselves, makes us something less than who we truly are. That's when we're not watching, that's when we are identifying, and we're reliving some identification that is popping up in our awareness, maybe even unexpectedly. And so this is what this whole contemplation is all about. It's about looking very closely at what draws you into a contracted state of being, where suddenly you're experiencing a fear-based version of yourself. And this is a normal thing. It's something that happens by the virtue of the process of meditation and clearing by itself. It's like when you go into yourself, when you go into that space within, and you manage to reach a state of balance where the truth of who you are becomes dominant in your experience for however long. And then when you stop your meditation, when you go out of your meditation, what triggers you? What all of a sudden comes up for you that's contractive and negative and pulling you out of that blissful state of pure being? And that's the information that you need to work with. And by working with it, I simply mean watch it and start to witness that as for the data that it is, for the illusion that it is. I know in my process, I meditate a lot where I am here at the sanctuary, and the fivefold process of eliminating data that is incongruent with my meditative experience is a constant experience here for all of us here. And so I can be very peaceful and blissful for most of my time, which I am, and yet here and there something pulls me into a contractive state of fear-based doubt or some negative projection on my circumstances or on somebody, and And so I watch. I watch this and then I meditate some more. I do that because when I go back into my meditation, that data has no power. And so I disempower the illusion and I empower the truth of who I am. And that's just the practice that goes on and on and on. It's not really something where I can set a goal or anything like that. All I can do is keep emphasizing the positive and disempowering the illusion of the Jim Clark, the body, the ego, and all that various identifications that I have accumulated in relation to this particular life experience. So we know that holism is the true philosophy of life. We know that we are all connected. We know that there is only one source consciousness. And yet, if I am consciousness, why am I lost in the creation game? The creation game that I'm a part of right now and that you're a part of right now. It's about, oh, I'm so and I do this and I do that and I have this position or I don't have this position. I am powerful or I am a victim. But whatever it is, regardless of what it is that pulls you down into a physical reality that is limited and disempowered, that data, that belief that's buried deep inside is coming to the surface to be released. And the way to release it is simply to watch and bring yourself back into your empowered state of blissful being. And that, of course, is meditation. It's like using a thorn to remove a thorn. You can see what's coming up for you. You feel the contraction and you feel the disempowerment that's happening while this data is flowing in your awareness. And yet, the only way to let go of it is to withdraw from your identification with it. And the way that I do that, of course, is meditation. I just watch it and I see it for what it is. And then if I need to meditate in the moment, then I do. If I can simply watch it and still move around and do whatever I'm doing here at the sanctuary and not be sort of bothered by it, then that's what I do. But it's a sign, it's a positive sign. Even though the experience itself in the moment might seem like it's uncomfortable, it's not something we like, but the mistake sometimes that we make, that I make, is trying to push it away or go into some denial or whatever. Rather, it's a positive sign that here is something that you've got inside yourself, deep inside your psyche, where it's in your unconscious still, and yet your meditation just made it conscious. It came into your awareness, and that is exactly what meditation is supposed to do. So it's working, and it's working very well. All you have to do is allow it and accept it. And you look at the data and you say, oh, okay, this is something where I got hooked into the human experience and contracted myself and my awareness in the process and became fear-based and less than I truly am. And so as it surfaces, just allow it to be what it is, as a fragment of illusion that was holding you back, but now you can let it go simply by recognizing it for what it is and maybe countering that moment with a positive affirmation or by going into your being and emphasizing that energetically. Whatever works for you to release that and let it go is going to be the right move for you at that time. So to be constant in holistic experience is the process of eliminating what brings you out of holistic experience. And the fact that something's coming into your awareness that all of a sudden you're experiencing some kind of a negative identification is testimony to the fact that your meditation is doing exactly what it should be doing. and that you are now witnessing, let's say, one of your hooks, one of the things that hooks you into being less than who you truly are. And what you can do is counter that with its opposite in the moment that it's coming into your awareness. Sometimes I often meditate late at night outside of our normal daily meditation, and something might come up for me that's kind of a negative spin on something, and it's not comfortable, it's not good, so I simply meditate and I watch. And within moments, the power of that illusion is gone. So, and I return back to a state of awareness that is blissful and quiet and still. So that works for me, and so that's what I do, and whatever works for you is what you should do. But oftentimes it's coming up with consciously coming up with a affirmation that counters whatever it is that's coming up for you. If it's say a identification that is one of disempowerment, then you can come up with an empowering affirmation and repeat that affirmation while you're in the experience of witnessing its opposite. Or you can meditate as I do, see if that works. If that's not enough, do the affirmation. If that's not enough, you might have to do something. You might have to move your energy. You might have to go for a walk, do some exercise, do something to help release that energy, and experiment with it. Be open to whatever possibility, all the possibilities of letting go of it, not out of desperation, but just out of just experiment for your own well-being. That's all. In the meantime, remaining in the truthful affirmation of who you truly are is a very powerful tool, and it's one that's worked for meditators throughout the ages. So I highly recommend that if something comes up and says you are a victim of this, and somebody's or you're endangered, that something's not going to work out, something negative, and rather than trying to bring that back into your experience by allowing it just to run you, you run it with its opposite. If it says that tomorrow I'm going to be a failure, then you counter it with an affirmation that says, I am one, I am all that is, and the journey of my awakening is fully on, and I am the truth of all that is. Something, whatever works for you. Short and sweet is usually what I go for. I am all is. I use that a lot sometimes, but whatever seems to be appropriate for you. And meditation, of course, is always a good thing to follow up with, even if it's just a very brief breathing exercise. If you're like I am right now in an office where I can't be in a dark room with a technology running and stuff, I can sit and breathe and just bring myself back into myself, and then re-experience the truth of myself to dissolve the power of the negativity that surfaced for me to clear. And that is a truthful response to whatever you're experiencing, and that truthful response is a mechanism of letting go, of dissolving something that was still in your subconscious or unconscious database. So when something comes up for you and all of a sudden you go, oh, my meditation's not working, why am I experiencing this, and so forth and so on, turn that around by acknowledging it as an old friend. This is something that you used to be by choice, unconscious choice. Now you're conscious and you're aware of it, and you have the opportunity to bring the unconscious, to make the unconscious conscious, which is to invoke its opposite, the positive polarity, that is the truthful polarity of yourself. So it's a necessary process. It's part of all meditators' process, and contrary to what people would like to believe, when you meditate, when you reach out to try to enlighten yourself, you're going to run into all the obstacles that have stopped you from being the truthful self that you are. But they're just obstacles, and they're not very powerful. In fact, when you meditate, as you grow your being and reduce your doing, your identification with your ego, it becomes easier and easier to just witness and dissolve the negativity and return yourself to a state of blissful being. So, that's what I wanted to share with you today, and I hope it has some value for you. It's hard sometimes when there's emotions involved with your identification, whatever is coming up for you. I know that's my biggest challenge, and but when it is, practice. Just practice letting go of it by countering it with a positive affirmation and being quiet and meditating on the truth of who you are, not on the illusion that's coming up for you. That's all. That's it. It's simple, it's direct, and it does work. So I hope that is helping you somewhat, and I thank you so much for being here with us today, and I hope I see you again next Monday morning.